All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to be working on Module 5, Lesson 1, Page 2. We are starting a large module that focuses on fractions and adding, subtracting, and we are focusing on mixed numbers, decomposition, improper fractions or fractions greater than 1. So this is going to be a large module with over 40 lessons in it. So it's a big chunk of what we learn in 4th grade. So today I'm going to be demonstrating to you just decomposition with fractions, knowing that fractions can make up a whole unit, and using tape diagrams to model it. So first I'm going to give you a rundown of what we'll be doing today in this lesson. Today we're going to be focusing on fractions. And so fractions can be broken down into many different fractions. This is considered one whole. Right? When we shade this in, it is considered a whole. So think of like a whole Snicker, that you're eating the whole thing, right? Everything is highlighted. This is a whole. Now, when we break this up into fractions, okay? When we break this into fractions, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares within this whole. So we would call this actually 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. All of it is shaded in, so this actually goes all the way to 5/5, okay? Which makes one whole. Going further, we always going to have one whole. However, it might only be partially shaded. Partially shaded where these fifths, now instead of it being filled all the way to 5/5, it is now only 1/5, 2/5, and it stops at 3/5. So this is not technically one whole yet. It is only at 3/5. Okay? Now, we also might get a improper fraction, meaning it's going to be greater than one whole. So say we might get 7/5 here. So our numerator, and then remember, the numerator is on top. This is our numerator. Okay, spelled like this, numerator. And our denominator is the bottom. The denominator. And I always think of D, denominator, for down, and that's how I remember that that's the bottom number in this fraction. D for down, denominator. Okay? So our numerator and our denominator really help us tell if the fraction is greater than 1. And this fraction is greater than 1 because the 7 is much larger than our denominator. And so I'm going to demonstrate that for you. Okay? So we have 5 here. Right? We're going to have 5. And this is going to be filled out entirely because it is fraction greater than 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So this is actually 5/5, right? One whole. However, we have a 7. We have 2 more. So I'm going to make another 5/5, or another fraction that's cut into fifths. However, we're only going to be shading 1, 2 of that. And so this is 2/5, and when added, it makes 7/5 because we add the 5 and the 2. All right? So that is a fraction greater than 1. So this is what we'll be working with today, is fractions that are one whole. Fractions that are one whole. Fractions that are just not one whole yet, so like 3/5, and fractions that are greater than 1, more than one whole, more than one Snicker bar. All right, so let's get into the lesson today. So let's zoom in on our first little problem here. So just like we practiced, these are fractions that are greater than 1. And I know this because see this 1 here? This 1 is telling me that these 3 right here, these 3, that makes one whole. These 3 highlighted, shaded partitions. So, how much does that make? Well, there's 3 of them, right? So I definitely know that my denominator is going to be 3. Okay? My denominator is going to be 3. And my denominator is going to be 3 here. So this is cut into 2/3 and 1/3. Because you can see right here, it kind of goes right here to the 2, and then just to this 1 right here. Okay, you can kind of see it. Perfect. So 2/3 plus 1/3. Okay? And then, so that equals 3/3, right? That equals 3/3. And then we have here, we have an extra 2. We have an extra 2. So that is actually going to be 2/3. So this is going to be added. So we're going to add these 2/3 and 3/3. And I'll just do that math right here on the side. So 3/3 plus 2/3. And that is going to make 5/3. Okay? So that improper fraction is 5/3. And our denominator stays the same. So when we're adding, our denominator needs to be these thirds in order for us to add correctly. Okay? Perfect. So let's go on to H here. And you'll see again that we have one whole here. However, this one whole is telling us how much is this one whole actually as our denominator. How much is this one whole? Let's check. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, cool. So that is 8. So our denominator is 8. So I'm going to put it here, 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 and here. See how I'm putting it right in these lines right here because it's telling me that these are going to represent something eventually. And it's actually it's shading 2. 2 are shaded, so that means my numerator is going to be 2. And it looks like 2 are shaded, right? So 2. 2 are shaded, so 2. And, okay, it looks like they're shading a larger portion here, a much larger portion. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. So 4, and then a little 1. Okay? Perfect. So now we can add these up, and we'll figure out what our improper fraction will be. So 2, 4, 6, 10, and finally 11. So this is going to equal 11/8. But what I want you to focus on right now is what is my whole unit here? How much is it broken into fractions? And so we can easily know by just looking at this section here, right? This line that's telling me it's one whole. So let me count. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect. And so it's actually 8/8 is my whole. And then I have, in black ink, I got 1, 2, 3. And so I got 3/8 left over, and that does equal 11/8. All right, cool. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that we were checking our answer, and we were correct. Okay, so let's go on to 2, and let's figure out how we can solve 2. So what we're going to be working with here is making tape diagrams and breaking them down because it's already decomposed for us. So I'm going to do the first and second one for you, and I'm going to want you to do C and D on your own. Okay? So let's go. I'm going to go actually into B here, and I'm going to be making this tape diagram. Okay? And so looking at the denominator, it's broken into fifths. Okay, so that means I'm going to break this into fifths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and it is broken into 1/5. Okay, so I'm going to put 1/5 here, and I'm going to shade it in. Okay, and then it's broken into 2/5. Awesome. So I'm going to just put 2/5 here. And I'm going to shade. So I should have done black ink, right, to partition them a little bit better. There we go. And then my last one's going to be 1/5, and so I'm going to shade this in too. And nice. All right, perfect. And what does this equal? Well, this equals 4/5. Cool. And that's how we're basically going to we're going to do this one. Okay. Let's do D together because I feel like D is a complicated one. So let's make a tape diagram because it looks like it's an improper fraction, okay, an improper fraction. So we are going to continue this. So let's do it. So our denominator is 8ths. So that means we're going to cut this into, we're going to cut this tape diagram into 8ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, perfect. And we are shading in 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Excellent. So this would be 7/8. And we are shading in 1/8. So this actually makes one hole. Makes one hole. Perfect. However, we have, this is an improper fraction, so we have 3 more 8ths. So I am going to make a little tape diagram like this, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to shade in 3/8. And that's how we make our little improper fraction. All right, and we can add them up, and it equals 11/8. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, I would like for you to do A and C on your own, making those tape diagrams. There's no improper fractions for these. These are pretty simple ones. So I'd like for you to do A and C. Happy decomposing and tape diagram finding.